So I registered the first 2 years. When you are a CPA candidate, it's free membership. So I utilized that, and then that's the same way that I registered to start sitting for my exams. And to me, it was easier because when I was coming over here from England, I was already qualified.
Hello! This is CPA Career Path Podcast with Rosey Flaherty, CPA MSA, where we dive into thrilling journeys in the world of accounting.
Yeah, it's so funny. I can imagine the look is probably like, I'm so lost here.
Yes.
Because I was there. I was there attend the first time of the event. I was like, what am I supposed to do here?
Yes.
What am I supposed to say?
Yes.
So I understand that.
Yeah, am I supposed to be here? But yeah, so I met Marjorie McPie. Lovely lady. She's amazing. I love her. I love Marjorie. So she welcomed me, and like she actually like walked me to the table to find my name, and then we walked in together. Right. And I was like, who's this lady? Well, she told me her name, but I could not remember because I was so overwhelmed with the to be in that kind of presence. I'm like, who am I? Because what am I supposed to be doing? So, she led me to the seat, and she said if I need anything, I should let her know. So I was thinking, who's this lady? So I sat down, and then before I knew, she was walking around like ensuring everyone is all right. And I'm thinking, who's this lady? So maybe is she one of those ladies I have to take pictures with? I don't know. So anyway, so after the whole the session finished, I had a one-to-one conversation with her, and then she introduced me to the Alliance of Black Women Accountants, the ABWA, because she's a very committed member over there. I think she's a secretary. So she told me about the Alliance of Black Women Accountants, and the usual question, I was like, what is that? And she went,
anything. I don't know if you can just explain to me.
So she led me to the table where they had all these, leaflets and all the information about who they were. And she asked me to put my name down to register and become a member. So that's where I started my relationship with the ABWA. And now looking back, it's almost 10 years now, and I'm now a mentor, and so many things are happening in that. But the spark was when Marjorie walked me to that table and said, put your name down there. But at that time, I never knew her very well, and I was, okay, she told me she's Marjorie, that's fine. So I put my name down there, and then I took the pictures with the people, because I had to come and prove to my mentor, right, that I went there. Took the picture, and I took the picture with the AICPA chair, because he was there. I took the picture. I made sure I hunted him down. I said, hey, excuse me, can we take a picture? Yeah. So he obliged, and we took a picture. So I had so much evidence to show my mentor. I went there, so she applauded. She said, that's it. So now you can join the CalCPA, and the rest is up to you. So I registered the first 2 years. When you are a CPA candidate, it's free membership. So I utilized that, and then that's the same way that I registered to start sitting for my exams. And to me, it was easier because when I was coming over here from England, I was already qualified in the sense that I had enough, what do they call them, credits, points, to start sitting for the CPA exam. So I never had to start topping up, because I had master's degree already. So all I needed to do is just to approach my colleges out there to send their transcripts to an organization. We went through the process of evaluation, and then I got my admission to start sitting for the CPA exams. 2019. That was 2 years after I landed, because I came here in 2017. So that was 2 years after I landed. And I was so excited. After I finished with my first interaction with H&R Block clients, I went on and did my tax exam, the regulation for the CPA exams. That was in May 2019. And guess what? I passed.
Wow!
And it was so exciting. I was like, yeah. And so I look at myself and I'm thinking, this is me who was asking what a W2 is. To me, understanding all the coursework for what it takes to pass that exam. So I patted myself so hard on my shoulder that it's over-celebrated, and I forgot that I had to do more exams. It felt like I was...
What study material did you use for regulation? And how long did it take you to pass it?
For regulation, I used Wiley, and
Okay.
it only took me 3 months because
That's pretty good.
yes, I was determined. I said, because you see, this is what they talk. I mean, in life generally, like I like talking to people who are more experienced and listen to their stories, how they conquered what, the challenges. It's easier to teach someone who doesn't know anything to start from the ground than someone who knows something already, right?
That's so true because you are like a white, so
Yeah,
they can write anything on you. But
that's
when
right.
you already know someone, it's so difficult to erase it
That's
and then
right.
rewrite it.
That's
It's a
right.
lot more work and effort.
That's right. And then that again, I'll move on. I'll come back and talk about my CPA experiences. But you brought up something which is very interesting, having a white paper, right? So the time I started doing the taxes, that's the year the TCJA came in place. That's when they changed the tax code, right? So to me, there was nothing changing, right? Because I was learning from the scratch. But for people who have been practicing in the field, it was something that they had to start, tweaking around, like the laws that changed were
Yeah.
the things that they are used to doing on the tax return, suddenly they cannot do. But for me, I was learning that fresh, so there was nothing to erase, right? So I was learning that from a clean slate. So I was using that as a joke when I find people scratching their head about the pre law before the 2017. I was like, I wasn't there, so I don't care. I learned the new law. So
That's true. That's funny because now you like I have no issue try to erase what
no,
was already there.
no.
Everything is just new and you just get to the new regulations so quickly because
That's right. It was new to me, and I had I was eager to learn. I had the hunger and the drive to understand more about the tax code. That was a fascinating factor for me to kind of form into the tax world. Because I had opportunities to go into other fields, like my neighbor was telling me. She said, because I'm a tax person, I don't want you to do that because I am a tax person. I want you to do tax because you want to do it, or you'd like to do it. But I'll introduce you to this. If you like it, you can do it. If you don't like it, there are so many other routes that you can follow and become a CPA and be able to succeed. But
yeah.
try this first. So when I tried the H&R Block, and I loved it, the same spark when I started accounting, it kind of came back again with a tax code, explaining the tax code to people and be able to help them resolve issues using the tax code, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's pretty amazing story when you
yeah.
share that to go to US studying tax code in US and also learning about all the new things probably in your life as well.
Yes.
Into a new life, new routines, new place, new house. Everything is so new to you.
And
So
new English. You know, Rosie, the English here is different. Believe me or not, the English, we suffered. My family and I suffered a lot, like, well, in an interesting way, trying to find stuff. Right. So the way they code things here is different from the way they code things over there. So I'll give you an example. When you go shopping, right, you use that thing that you wheel around. You call it a cart.
yes, cart, shopping cart. Yes.
It's called a trolley over there.
Oh, interesting.
So, and here, a trolley is something else, like a mode of transport, like the train. It was funny, like trying to find things, and then the elevator, it's called a lift. So when you say, I'm looking for a lift, they'll say, where are you looking for Uber or something? And candy, sweets, pants, trousers, and simple things like even food, minced meat, they call it ground beef. So there was a lot of learning for me and the kids in school as well. I mean, I got to a stage, like you said in your story, I was saying to my husband, I don't think I need to be here. I mean, should we go back? Do we have a chance of going back? He went, no, I'm working here. You have to. But the language is different. Everything is different. So, and the accounting language is different. The tax code is different.
That's true. That's true. And so now going back to the CPA exam after you pass regulation, what's next? What's the next section that you study for the CPA exam?
So after I passed my regulation, I over celebrated because to me, I felt it felt as if I finished. I was already a CPA because I was like, wait, what? I passed? Right. So my plan was to go on and do BEC, which is now long gone now. They're not doing BEC anymore. I understand. But my plan was to do a BEC part, but I over celebrated and I was planning on doing BEC the following year, maybe in March. And known to me that year was going to be different. As you would understand, that was the pandemic. Yeah. So I just kind of used my 6 months to celebrate and then just doing stuff, learning stuff, and looking around for where I can find my opportunity to start working in a CPA firm, because that's another thing I was told. I need to be in a CPA firm for a CPA to sign me off because that's part of a requirement to become a CPA, right? So you need to be signed off. So in January, I registered for BEC, and shortly after, I think towards the tail end of January, I started working in my first CPA firm as an intern, and I was studying for my BEC. But before we got to March, the pandemic hit and everything shut down. So that's where, when they say when life gives you lemon, make lemonade with it. So I quickly realized that the time I could take my time off, my career break, and use the period to study for my CPA exam, get myself ready. By the time the world opens up, whenever that was, I will be ready to start taking my CPA exams and take up other roles. Because with the pandemic and the kids learning from home, it wasn't just practical for me to carry on going into the office. Even though most people were sent to work from home and they gave us opportunity. For me, I was an intern and my mentor was still at the office. It gave me an opportunity to stay, or if I want, I can just stay at the office or stay at home and wait for whatever works for me. But I chose to stay and take my career break because it wasn't just practical.
So you took a break and then you studied for BEC. How was that exam?
Well, that's when I started facing my challenges. Right. That's when my story starts about my CPA journey, because I started studying for my BEC in January. I meant to sit for it in March. Everything shut down, so I had the whole year, right, to study. And during that time, I joined I was already a member of the CalCPA, but at that time, my interaction with them wasn't that much because I was still studying for the CPA exams. But I joined other organizations like the National Society of Black CPAs. And I think that organization was born in 2020. And at the time, they were encouraging students to study and pass the exams. So they had the programs where every Saturdays you log on to the computer, do your work, but you have to be on the video. Someone was monitoring us, right? So you'll be on the video, do your exams for an hour or two, not exams, your studies for an hour or two. If you have questions, you can type in. If someone else is studying the same part, they'll answer you the question. So that's the kind of support that I received during the pandemic. And then I had to involve myself in other Facebook groups with this individuals studying for the same part, the BEC. And I also had some friends I met through my Wiley live classes. So I used the whole 2020 studied for the BEC. So by the time the Prometric centers opened in 2021 and they were ready to start accepting students, I was one of the first ones to put myself down to go for the BEC because I was like, yeah, I've studied for quite a long time, so I should go. But then I went in February that year, did my exams, I failed. I had a 72.
It's close. 75 is passing score. So
yes.
Very close.
It was close. I was trying to make myself better by looking at it that way, but really it meant that I have to go back and study. Mind you, I spent the whole year doing that, right? So I went back, and to my advantage, during that period, the NASBA came up with this new way of testing. Like they removed the windows, like you have to do continuous testing. So that works to my advantage. So as soon as I failed making that BEC, I re-enrolled again, started studying for it. But all in all, I attempted the BEC exams 6 times. Every time I had a 72, 74, 73, that around that area. Yes.
Oh my God, that's painful.
It was very painful.
Oh my God.
I tell you, it got to a stage where when I was checking for my results, because in California, we still send a check to the board to sit for exam, right? So it got to a stage when I was checking for my exam, I'll have my checkbook in my other hand, ready to send that check, right? So when I open the computer, I'm checking for my results and I have my pen and check in my hand. And when I see, 73, I just started, California Board of Accountancy, $50 at the time.
Legitimate. I want to go to the next test again right away.
Right away. No time to start mourning about anything. No time to start bashing myself like, this is it. I'll go straight to the post office, put it in the post and start studying. And by the time my husband will come home, how was it? I said, I failed and I'm already studying for another, for me, another chance.
Very disciplined.
So 6th time. I failed.
That's amazing that you still can keep that motivation.
That's right.
For 6 times.
That's right.
That's impressive. And
that's
so,
right.
like, I failed regulation, I got 73. And for audit, I got 72, and I hate it so much. And it just took twice. Yeah. I cannot imagine going through 5 times and finally pass on the 6th time.
On the 6th time, yes.
Oh my God.
And it went on. I went on so when I passed the BEC, in fact, it got to a stage where I was like, let me move on from when I failed on the 4th attempt, and I said, no, let me move to another part. Right. So I moved on to the auditing. Mm-hmm. That was another thing because I love auditing, but it was a challenging part as well. For that, I failed 4 times for auditing. And that one was like a 71s and 69s with it. And I would say with auditing, I think looking back, my time management at the time wasn't that good because I was spending more time on the multiple choice. By the time I get to the simulations, the time will be counting down. So usually I left a sim unattempted. So I was having like 69s and 71 4 times, right? So I moved back to BEC to do my 5th attempt. I went in and then because I then realized that some parts in BEC were like related a little bit to auditing, right? So at that point I felt maybe let me go back to BEC and see if I can do it. So the number 5 attempt, 74.
74?
Yes. And I was like, well, this is it. But I still refused to give up. I got my check and I got my book, my pen, and I wrote that check again. I sent it. Started studying. I'm like, this is it. So by the time I passed, I had an 81.
That's good. I love how stubborn you are with the CPA exam. That's a very good characteristic you are having right there. That you deny to give up.
That's right. That's right. Because I knew my end goal. I knew where I wanted to be. I set out to be an accountant. I set out to be qualified, like to have that the highest qualification I can have to be an accountant, because everyone can be an accountant, but you don't have to be a CPA to be an accountant. But I set myself up. I need that designation to be able to be in a position to become a trusted advisor to my clients. Knowing what I know, I need to be there to be able to be positioned in a place where I'll be a trusted advisor. So that's why. So I passed the BEC, celebrated, and then went back to auditing. I told you I was attempt number 1 because auditing I failed 4 times. Yeah. So I think I left it at attempt number 3. So I went back to the 4th attempt. I passed, I think auditing I got 85. That was the highest. So now I had the financial reporting. They called it a beast. There's a reason they called that beast.
So it has a lot of information.
There is a lot of information. It took me quite a while. Financial reporting, I went in back and forth 7 times.
Oh my God.
Yes.
How could you do that?
And I was at the verge of losing my other credit for reg. Mind you, I passed reg before the pandemic. But again, something works to my advantage because of the pandemic, they extended the expiry date. So I was covered during the extension, the mandatory extension. I was like, well, if I don't pass this time around, I'm going to lose regulation. So that will mean I have to go back and sit. So that was a motivation factor to keep going. And again, the continuous testing helped me quite a lot because I don't have to worry about waiting for the quarter and doing it again. So as soon as I get so at that time I only had one left, right? So as soon as I fail, I have my pen and my check and I'll write it down. As soon as I fail, and I did it continuously 6 times. And I was getting the similar results, like 74 and 70, 74, 72 in financial reporting. And for that one, again, it was the volume of work and management of time, because I always left the sim an attempt. And so until the last attempt, when I managed to finish everything, I passed and I had a 75. I've never been happy in my life, in my academic life, with a 75 than that day. Because I was like, I don't care about 75. I passed it across the bridge.
That's crazy. It's like a golden number, 75. Yes.
Yeah.
For people who study the CPA exam, and they know the 75 is the passing score. It's just like, it doesn't matter you get 75 or you get 95.
That's right.
Still pass the CPA exam.
That's right.
It's funny that when I took FAR first. I took FAR first, and when I took FAR, I was confident that, well, I already work in private. I knew all this information, financial statements and everything. So FAR should be okay to me. So the moment I left the room, I thought I failed it. And I went home and just cried in the room. I this one, this is horrible. And then I end up with passing it at 80.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So with that thinking, on the second exam, I thought that maybe I don't need to study that hard.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's the challenging part with the CPA exam. You never know where it takes you, because when I was studying for my financial reporting, I think I overstudied, because I remember when I shared it with my neighbor, and I think she said, Precious, I think you're overstudying it. You need to know the basics. And true to her word, when I started going back to the basics, I mean debits and credits, it made sense. Because to me, I was like, no, I have to relearn international financial reporting standards. This is GAAP, this is US GAAP, and this is what am I supposed to be doing? But learning the basics kind of helped me in the end. Yeah.
And so totally, how long did it take you to pass so many times? And at the end, you passed all 4 sections.
I think I would say maybe 12 months or 13 months, because I used the whole 2021 doing the exams. And then
12 months?
Yeah. I was rolling, and I was working full time at the same time. And then so I was giving myself 3 months in between, sometimes 2 months, sometimes 1 month, because I was up against the clock. I never wanted to lose out my regulation credit. So I think all in all, when I started, I spent the whole 2021 doing my exams and working full time. But I left FAR, financial reporting, last. I took a huge break because it happened 7 times. It was a bit too much, right? So when I got to the 5th attempt, I kind of started slowing down, right? I was working and studying. I went in the 6th time and got a 74. I started cooling down. I said, okay, fine. So I'm going to go for the last time. So I took 6 months or something like that, maybe 5-6 months before I went back and did finally pass and got a 75.
Wow. So hang on, you spent the whole 2021 year, but you passed regulation in June 2020?
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So there's a gap from June 2019, and then there's a gap in 2020, and then you start the whole year in 2021.
That's correct.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Because I passed all 4 sections within 18-month window, but I passed the last section in the last week of the 18-month window. So I was at the risk of losing the first exam credit, just like how you told me that you pass a reg credit. You may lose a reg credit. I may lose a FAR credit at that point. And I don't care what it took. I had to pass it. So the same mentality. But with so many attempts to take the CPA exam, I had to give you a lot of credit for all the being so determined, being so disciplined to pass, to go back and then take it again and to take it again until you pass it. Did you change the way you study? Did you change the way you use the study material, the time management to pass the next time?
Yes, I did. Actually, I changed a lot of things. I changed even the prometric centers. I joke about this every time I talk to my mentees, and I say, if you go to a prometric center, you keep going to the same prometric center, and they start knowing your name, it's time to move. Move on to the next one. So with BC, I was going to my local, when I say local, it's about an hour and a half, I think. My local prometric center started knowing my name. So when I moved, they were like, hey, Precious. I was like, no, it's a good thing you know my name, but this is not the environment, right, where you can be welcoming me by my name. So that means I've been failing a lot. So I changed the strategy. I started studying more because I was working full time. So I started studying more before work in the morning when my brain is fresh. And sometimes I'll study later in the night. I'll sleep maybe a couple of hours after work and then wake up and study if I don't do it early in the morning. And again, I was lucky. I'll say maybe I was one of the lucky ones at the time. I had a very supportive boss in 2021. My boss was so supportive. She gave me the key to her office. I was working for a very small firm, like under 20 employees. Right. And she gave me the keys to the office and told me to be walking into the office anytime I want. I can start maybe if I want, I can come in over the weekend and study, or I can come in early before the office hours and study, or I can stay behind after office hours and study. So that kind of helped me, because really time management to me was a biggest factor, because I have young kids, right? So I have to prioritize, and obviously I'm a mother first before an accountant, right? So I have to kind of split myself how I want to be a good mom as well as being a good professional. So that area was what I had to work with and change a few strategies if it means sending my kids to bed earlier than normal, and then I just cut myself off any social events, no social media, and no, I wasn't trying to be like a sad person or something like that, but just to like give myself time to do things that I want to achieve, and then I give myself a set target, because with financial reporting, when I go to the attempt number 6, I said to myself, if I don't make this 7th attempt, I probably have to have a break or go back to England. I was like, because I'm like, I'm qualified over there. Why am I going through this? But I had so many things that I had to give myself. I had to have some options, because I didn't see myself staying on and working in an accounting profession and not becoming a CPA, just like working regular hours. I didn't. That's not what I was set out to do. The moment I knew what a CPA was, the moment I knew the opportunities that comes with you becoming a CPA, the moment I knew the trust that you have with the public when you become a CPA, the moment I knew all those things, I wanted to be one of those that have those 3 letters after my name. So it wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when I become a CPA.
I really like that attitude. And I also like your positivity when you went through so many attempts, and you even still say that I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone can even say that after trying so many attempts to pass the CPA exams and say, oh my God, I'm so lucky. So you have a lot of great characteristics to make yourself become who you are today. That's just amazing. And we share such amazing story about your CPA journey, how you passed the CPA exam. Before we end this podcast discussion, I'm wondering if you can share maybe 2 or 3 main tips to people who are studying for the CPA exam right now. How can they pass it? How can they keep their mindset in the right?
Right. So one thing I would say about CPA exams, it's very different from an academic exam. It's very different from the college exam, if I would say, right? So you have to start doing this exam with an open heart, and you need to have resilience and able to have the ability to bounce back in case you have disappointments, in case you don't get the results that you intended to have. Okay. And then you need to have some intuition. So when you fail, for example, if you felt like you've done very well and you fail, You can't use 2 months moaning about how you had a 74 instead of 75. You need to have the intuition to be able to bounce back and carry on. You need to have a focus of where you want to be. That should be the motivating driving factor. Because if you don't have a focus, if you are pushed into doing the CPA for wrong reasons, you won't be able to do or maybe to be able to overcome the challenges. If you want to be a CPA because you want to have quick money, so then that's the wrong motivation. It's good, yeah, you're gonna have quick, but you should have another driving factor. What drives you? What motivates you to become a CPA aside you making money? What motivates you? And use that. Again, I would say cut yourself off from social events for the period you are studying. Family gatherings, limit that. Your friends should be able to understand that you are studying for the exam and give you the chance to do that, not to be inviting you to parties and making you feel guilty for not attending those parties. So declare, tell your friends this is what you are doing. Join organizations like I talked about. CalCPA really it drove it home for me. Being part of them really is where I am today. And I didn't share something about this, Rosey, quickly before we wrap up. I got to where I am at today with my current role because of my interactions with CalCPA. Believe me or not, the time I had my interview with my soon to become boss at the time, I was talking about my involvement with the CalCPA and if it's going to be a problem with them. And the response to that was like, oh no, Precious, that's the reason I called you for this interview. We love your involvement with the CalCPA and we love people who are up to date with what's happening in the profession, and people are giving up their time to help with the profession. So for that reason, that's why we called you for this interview. So to me, it was like, yeah. So when I joined the CalCPA, my intention was not for me to be seen by someone and to be given a job. My intention was like to be part of that and learn from that, right? And see how I can contribute my time because of what the valuable things that I've learned from them and how I can help others achieve that as well. So I would say join organizations like CalCPA in your state. Every state has a state society. Look out for that. Join that and join study groups. Some people are based at studying by themselves, but I achieved what I achieved because I belong to the group. Ask questions. If you have got a supervisor, you are working, you are lucky to have a job like I did. I was working and my immediate supervisor was my CPA. Ask questions and don't be shy to make mistakes because that's how you learn. So
I agree with you about CalCPA because I volunteer a lot. I would say it like that. I did volunteer. I have been volunteering a lot with CalCPA, and they are amazing. They are amazing. Yeah. I learned so much. I have so many amazing connections, and also a lot amazing relationships, and it led me to a lot of different directions.
That's right. That's right. It's really because right now I'm attending the leadership course by the CalCPA Leadership Institute.
Oh, that's amazing! Yeah. I attend that one in probably 2022 or 2021. I don't remember, but it was amazing. It was amazing.
It is.
That's you definitely love it. You will definitely love it. You will so much from there.
I'm loving it. We're actually graduating next month. We've been doing it. I'm loving it. It's good. I can't wait to kind of graduate.
Congrats that you're going to graduate from that Leadership Institute.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Precious, for the interview today to share with me your amazing and brave and adventurous journey in the U.S. and also in the accounting profession as well.
That's right. It's a pleasure being here, Rosey, and I wish you all the best and happy holidays. I see it's snowing over there, and keep yourself warm and enjoy the rest of the year. And happy holidays. Thank you for having me.
Happy holidays to you as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.